Good morning, Daily Dose of Danny followers. It is Wednesday. So wrap your heads around that, okay? Because Thursday, Friday, Saturday, in 3 days, or 4 days if you include today, my baby girl is graduating from high school. Graduation is a beginning and an ending. We all know this. These are not revelatory statements. So much is ending for us, though, with this girl, this athlete, this child of mine. What's ending is watching her play her sport, soccer, that she's played since she was 4 years old. She also did gymnastics, horseback riding, softball, and basketball at a competitive level, all of these. She's just gifted. She's a gifted human being, and she chose on many occasions to squander these God-given gifts, and she still survived and got through it, and we all survived and got through it. She made her choices. She made them based on her gut, and that's all you can really ask of your kids, is to follow their gut. Her dreams don't include sports. That's not in her dream wheelhouse. She has things that she's passionate about, things that she wants to do in her life. There's a little skib on my screen. And it just doesn't involve playing organized competitive sports. As sad as that makes me, and it makes me super sad, I get it. I understand it. I understand that there's pressure, real and perceived, that's put on a student athlete, and my girl did not like it. She didn't thrive under that pressure. She didn't bloom under that pressure. She didn't blossom under that pressure. So she made decisions to walk away from that pressure, and that's okay. She's one of the most amazing human beings. And I'm super proud of her. Next. So a lot of parents of grads are foregoing the traditional announcements that we bought and paid for from Jostens that the school, gets you to buy. And they customized something and sent those out. And some of them sent out little things like, could you please write something to my graduate? Or I'm organizing a thing, write a letter to my graduate. These are creative, smart parents. I'm not that parent. I got the traditional announcement, even though the dates are meaningless, and I added her little name card that says Leah Jane Stockham and one option of a senior portrait, and sent those out to the people she wanted me to send them to. I have in my basket in Shutterfly another kind of thing that was for her party, which was more personalized, with her picture on it. She's attending University of Arizona in the fall, blah, 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 blah. I did not buy or pay for that because there is no party. I don't know when the party's going to happen. So as grad announcements come to my home from other people, she goes, oh my God, these are so cool. Like, why didn't you do something like that? Why would you not put pictures of me on there? Let's just take a breath here, because she was close to getting strangled before she could graduate high school. I sent her picture into the Press Democrat, so she's in the 2020 class 2020 yearbook in the newspaper, and the first thing she says, oh my God, I look so horrible in that picture. Check. What other picture did she hate? She hates every picture of her. It doesn't matter what the picture is, she hates it. So now she's mad at me that I didn't make a picture card for her. That's the mind of a 17-year-old. So I have an appointment today with a pulmonologist. It's at 2:45. Let's see what this person has to say about the croupy, disgusting cough that lives in my lungs, and what kind of solutions they have. You hear how loud that is? I'm going to turn that down. Every time I get an email or anything, it makes it loud. Ding, ding, and you don't need to hear all that, or anything. So the same child that we've been speaking of, my youngest, my baby, has had these stomach issues for the last 6 or 7 months. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's not associated with anything that she eats or doesn't eat, any behavior that she has or doesn't have, any medicine that she takes or doesn't take. She just has these random bouts of vomiting where she'll get like a wash over her body of like, sweating kind of. She'll start to feel weak. This last time, like her vision was blurred. She gets like, a lot of extra saliva in her mouth, all the signals that she's going to vomit. And then she vomits, but not once. It's like 4, 5, 6, 7 times. It happened again yesterday. It's once a month, random times during the month. No rhyme. I've taken her to the hospital for it. We've gone to urgent care for it. We've gone to the doctor for it twice. So she decides she's going to look up what is just random fucking vomiting. It's called CYCLIC. Cyclic, I don't even know how you say it. Cyclic. It's a vomiting syndrome characterized by episodes of severe vomiting that have no apparent cause. Episodes can last for hours or days and alternate with symptom-free periods. Episodes are similar. Similar meaning that, let's see what the Mayo Clinic has to say about it. Episodes are similar, meaning that they tend to start at the same time of the day, last the same length of time, and occur with the same symptoms and intensity. It occurs in all age groups, although it often begins in children. She's not a child. It's more common in recurrent episodes of vomiting, varying intervals of generally normal health without nausea, which is what she has. Nausea and sweating before the episode starts, completely true. Abdominal pain, dizziness, sensitivity to light, headaches, retching or gagging. So what are the causes? These are the underlying causes: colds, allergies, or sinus problems. She doesn't have that. Emotional stress or excitement, especially in children. She does have emotional stress. All teenagers do. Anxiety or panic attacks. I wouldn't say she has that. Certain foods to drink: alcohol, caffeine, chocolate, or cheese. She does eat cheese. She does take in caffeine. She doesn't drink alcohol on a regular basis. I mean, she's a teenager, so she drinks. Overeating or eating right before going to bed and fast. So here's the thing. Sometimes she'll wake up from a nap and vomit. Hot weather, which was yesterday. Physical exhaustion. Exercising too much. Menstruation, motion sickness. So she got motion sick on Saturday, and then it was boiling hot, like 100 freaking degrees, and she was outside yesterday and she vomited. So anyways, she has an appointment with the doctor on Thursday. I'm going to take her and we're going to talk about this. She could have this. She might have diagnosed herself. And I'm not a doctor, but I do play one on TV. And she said to me last night, I'm not a doctor, Mom, but I think this is what I have. Let's just take a look at that, okay? It's rare. Weird. My family never gets anything rare. Okay, now we're going to talk about a very serious situation that everyone's aware of, the George Floyd situation, and how being black in America is just, under this current fucking administration, is just a nightmare. So I have a relative. She's married to my cousin. She's a school teacher. She's smart. And I'm going to read you her Facebook post. That's why I have my computer here. I don't usually bring my computer when I do my things, but it's here. So how do we help black children, black human beings, not feel victimized? This is how we do it. By elevating them, by not upholding a system that kills their mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers, by not disproportionately suspending and expelling them, by reading them books about black joy and triumph, by not presuming them to be more mature than they really are and in turn robbing them of their innocence, by not appropriating their culture, by not perpetuating white standards of beauty, by seeing and honoring the color of their skin and everything that comes along with it, by not touching their hair, by educating others about racism and social justice, by educating your own children, by educating yourself, by teaching them their worth, by promoting the voices of black people, by getting uncomfortable and confronting your own implicit bias, by having difficult conversations, by believing and doing the work to make sure others believe that Black lives matter. I'm going to share this on my Facebook page. I find it to be brilliant and checks a lot of the freaking boxes. So I just shared it. And there's no comment necessary. It's on my page. So we all saw the video. We all were horrified by the video. We all were violently disgusted by what we saw. George Floyd did not deserve to die. Yes, they took the 4 white officers and fired them. That was step 1. Violence should not beget violence, I get that, but the reaction that I had to watching that video was physical. So, obviously I'm white. I grew up in the Midwest, and I think back to how my opinions on racial justice came into being. Like, did I grow up in a family that was progressive? I don't think so. But somehow I just knew that there's nothing wrong with black people. There's nothing wrong. They weren't less than me. They weren't something to be made fun of. And, you know, there's, of course, levels of this. There's always levels of this. Like, everyone can relate to being picked on or singled out or made fun of or made to feel less than because of something about them. You know, like, whatever, you wear glasses and maybe someone called you 4 eyes. You are overweight and they call you Fatty McFattersons. You have something wrong with your speech and someone makes fun of that. You have some sort of physical thing about you that isn't like everyone else, and there are whispers about that. I think every human being has had that experience, every human being. Now, there are people who just go, fuck you. I am who I am and I like it. If you don't like it, walk away. But you cannot strip off your skin. And this is a bias against an entire group of human beings simply because their skin color is different than yours. Now, you have to get right with that. You have to admit that that's true. You have to admit that black people face an entirely different set of rules, regulations, expectations, etc., than white people. It's a fact. Now, of course, racism in America is deeply rooted, and racism is also taught and accepted in the home. So if every person changed their little corner of the world and spread that out into the world, potentially we wouldn't be where we still are now, because, you know, we had the civil rights movement a long time ago. We made decisions about affirmative action and, you know, black colleges and universities and all of that. Like, we already made laws, and we were supposed to have made peace with this. But this underlying hatred towards people based on the fact that their skin is black is so terribly wrong, and it's seen such a resurgence under this administration, and there's just no fucking doubt about that. I mean, you can say whatever you want. You know, I wear my Black Lives, you know, white silence equals white consent, Black Lives Matter shirt, and I get shit for that. People are like, what the fuck? Who the fuck? What did it? Fuck you is what I say. My family's mixed. Every time there's an injustice like this, there's some horrible thing like George Floyd or Eric Gardner or any of these things, I think of my niece and nephew, and now my great niece and my great nephew. And what if it was them? And it could easily be them. And that's just intolerable. I know there's people in law enforcement who look at what those white officers did and they're disgusted by it. They're sick over it. Here's the thing, that the chokehold with Eric Garner and the knee on the neck with George Floyd, those are not legal in law enforcement. Law enforcement does not support that kind of restraint. The officers that watch that happen are held accountable. They're held to account, and that's why they got fired. And that's new. I mean, with Eric Garner, no one got fired, with some of the other cases, and I wish I had all their names right here in front of me, but I don't. And that's a problem as well, although I don't know the names of any of these motherfucking police officers. This is the thing, you give law enforcement a bad name. People need to admit that there are people in law enforcement who absolutely should not be carrying a badge. That they're racist and they get off on this kind of violence. Just like there's human beings that get off on this kind of violence. They're sick. That is an illness. That is a mental fucking defect. And they should not be in law enforcement. And I'm not going to say all cops are bad or, law enforcement sucks. That's not true. But if you're black in America and you're driving around in your car and you see blue lights behind you, you're fucking scared shitless. With good cause. But why? How did we get here? Why are we here? Why are we still here? I don't have any answers. I have zero answers, no answers. I just know that it hurts me on such a deep level. And I mean, Grace was practically in tears last night when they were showing that video on TV. She's like, I just hate that so much. Why does that happen? I don't know the why. I just know what I can do about it, which is A, speak out, and B, not tolerate it. I won't tolerate it. I absolutely won't tolerate it. There is no excuse for that. I don't care what you say. He was not resisting arrest, first of all. He was handcuffed, sitting on the ground. And they dragged him over there and put him down on the ground and did that to him while he was begging for his life. You're a callous, cold motherfucker. And firing should be step one of what happens to you. I have to move on just because there's so much, I have so many deep feelings about this, and that's not what my Daily Dose of Danny is all about. All the stuff came to decorate the cap. Let me tell you, I was a stress case because I saw on the shipping thing it said it's not going to come till Friday. And Leah's already mad at me because she had to make a poster with her name and like where she's going to college. And while I was going over it with her last night, like filling it in, I got ahead of myself and I misspelled university. I mean, I knew how to spell it, but as I was filling in the letters, I was going over what she wrote. And I was ahead of her. Like, she made the letter too small, so it was UNIVERSITY. But I was making them bigger. So by the time I did UNIVR, the I was there in SITY because I was ahead. So I started making the I, forgot the S. Luckily we had white paint and she could correct my blue error, but she was so mad at me. She was violently angry with me, with cause. I mean, yeah, I fucked up her poster and it's gonna be hanging up at the school. But we're not artsy here. We're just not. You can buy all the markers and all the paint and all the sparklies and everything. We're not artistic. It is not in our wheelhouse. So I was so stressed. What if the cap decorating stuff didn't come? She would fillet me. I mean, I wouldn't even be invited to her graduation. Thankfully it came. And all the car stuff's here except for the white marker that you draw on the car. I have a blue one though. We're gonna get through it. It's gonna be fine. I have all the balloons, but the balloon weight didn't come, but we can figure something out. My husband's in construction. He has a big piece of something. So that's, I saw that they're fact-checking the liar in chief. Twitter is about fucking time. He's such a fucking liar. And I know liars in my life. There are people I know, their first instinct is to lie. That's their go-to. They don't even realize they lie. They just lie so much that it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how hot it is. And they go, it's so cool outside. Do you know what I mean? Like, they can't help it. Lying is their thing. So, and that's him. He lies just constantly. He can't get away from it. He doesn't even know how not to lie. I mean, you can have a video proof of him golfing and he's saying, I haven't golfed in a week. It's a great example because he actually lied about that. But he's a fucker. And they're going to fact check him, and that's awesome. We still don't know who Biden's choosing for his running mate. We just know it's going to be a female. There's a lot of talk that, he should pick somebody from the Republican Party. I mean, I don't know any R women that are worthy of the honor, but I mean, if he comes up with, I don't have a problem with that. Unite the parties, see what happens. Couldn't be any worse than what we got right now as far as division among the parties, not as far as the president, because the fucker, I can't stand that fucker, which we all know that. He's just so despicable. He's the most rotten human being, rotten to the core. I'm going to talk about the heat a little bit because it's hot as fuck nuts in here. It's going to be 100 degrees today, 100. So we have all these palladium shades. The shades are down, people. And when you put the shades down, this is even in the pool house we got shades. When you put the shades down, it keeps everything cool. I don't like the shades down though. It's so dark in my house. And I don't like to turn on all the lights because then I have a whole thing about that. Even though I shouldn't have a thing about that, I have solar. It's 100 degrees. It's helping my electric bill. But something about all the darkness, it just gives me like not a good feeling. Like I want to feel happy that it's daytime. But I can't stand being out in 100 degrees either. That doesn't feel good. I'm going to try to swim today though. I was doing my exercise class yesterday after I took Grace to San Francisco to get Botox in her arm, and we came back from the trip, and I was working out with my boyfriend, and the phone rings, and it's Leah, and it's ringing. I was like, fuck, I got to answer it. So I paused the exercise, and I go, hey, Lols, what's up? Well, it was her friend. She's like, hi, Leah's really sick, and she feels like she's going to vomit. And I was like, yeah, okay, get her home. Sure, 100%. And she's like, should I stop at Molesbury's, which is the market that's like, I don't know, half a mile from my house? And I was like, why would you stop at Molesbury's? Just bring her home. And she goes, well, she doesn't want me driving very fast. I go, then drive slow. And she's like, should I take her to Kaiser ER? I said, well, we're not members of Kaiser, so please don't do that. I said, just bring her home. I got it. I can take care of it. So she brought her home and ice pack. She'd vomited 6 times. She comes in with a big bag of vomit, and she thinks she's going to put it in my trash. I go, are you delirious? I know you just vomited 6 times. Throw that out in the outside garbage. That's gross. I got a phone call last night from the U.S. Census, one of those callers, because I filled out my census form. Of course I did. Everyone should have. And she wanted to go over my answers to see if I was lying, I guess. So I verified everything because, I didn't make a mistake the first time. I definitely didn't make one this time. It's 17 years since the cicadas came out. It's their mating season every 17 years. They're going to be hopping and rubbing their wings together and making so much noise. This is their year, okay? They're coming out. Okay, 2 other people I want to talk about. Amy Cooper, that dumbass bitch in Central Park in the Rambles, who's walking her dog off leash, and another African-American human being was bird watching. What a fucking dick he was. How dare you bird watch when her dog was off leash and the dog was getting in the rambles and, scaring up the birds in the habitat. And he was like, could you please leash your dog? And she went high and to the fucking right. Called the fucking cops. She said she was in fear for her life. Guess what? You're such a fucking Karen. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just a dumb, racist bitch. Stay the fuck home with your goddamn dog. I don't care if your dog never gets to walk again. It's not the dog's fault. I take that back. Amy Cooper, go to hell. I fucking hate your guts. And they fired her from her job at Franklin Templeton, as they should have. Again, step 1 in what should happen to that bitch. And there's a girl that does an imitation of our asshole in chief. It's her handle on Twitter is Sarah, SARAHCPR. Watch her. She does these videos. They're fucking hysterical. And anyone that makes fun of that dick, I laugh at because he's such a fuckwad. Oh gosh, I'm sorry I ended so negatively. And I started out so happily crying about my grad. I'm just gonna, let's see, I have 1 or 2 more things to say. I don't though, I'm lying. I don't have anything else to say. I took Grace in yesterday finally to get a Botox treatment. She gets Botox in her arm, from her stroke. Her right arm is kind of gets up like this, so they put Botox in to relax it. She hasn't been since November because of this. She was supposed to go in March, so, things got fucked up. It was so great. It's just such a remarkable thing, that Botox. Can I get Botox right here? Smooth this out. Is that what they use Botox for right here? Can anyone let me know if that's the deal? Oh, and Glenn Campbell sings Rhinestone Cowboy, not freaking Kenny Rogers or who else I attributed that to. I know Botox can take care of this. I gotta relax that shit down. I mean, would I like totally different if I just didn't have that? I think I would.